Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. Today's episode, I'm going to show the first segment of my personal collection as it stands as of today. And today's episode is also going to include the primary focus of my PC, which is the Baseball Hall of Fame rookie card segment. I've been collecting all rookie cards, not just Hall of Famers. Going back to the early 1980s, I guess, is when I first became aware that rookie card collecting was a thing, becoming a thing at that point, and quickly learned during the 80s how just about the only cards people were looking for back then in terms of, there was only base sets to collect. There was no inserts. There was no autographs or game-used memorabilia cards, excuse me, or anything else like that. So among base cards, the rookie cards tended to be oftentimes the only cards that held any kind of significant value. So, like I said, back in the 80s, I started collecting those. Through the 90s, I continued collecting rookie cards. I also added an additional feature, which was I started to go to a lot of minor league games and try to get autographs. And the autographs I got were always on rookie cards. So that made them even more desirable at that time, having them signed. And everything I got was in person. So I knew 100% that all the autographs were authentic and didn't have to worry about that aspect of it at all. During the 2000s, I would eventually switch over to collecting vintage for the first time back in 2004. And from 2004 to 2014, I put together a Hall of Fame rookies collection, which included, at that time, there was 310 total members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And that included the players, the managers, the umpires, the pioneers, / executives, and also Negro Leaguers. And I set out to acquire one of each from every segment of the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I was able to complete by 2014 when I eventually sold the collection off. Then 2021, right around the COVID time, I got back into the Hall of Fame rookie thing again. The main difference this time was I was collecting not just the Baseball Hall of Fame rookies, but I was also doing football, basketball, hockey, a few key soccer players, and even considered doing a professional boxing individual, which was Muhammad Ali, which I never ended up picking up. But I did the baseball. I did the other three major team sports, as well as soccer, the major worldwide sport. And a lot of those cards, or some of those cards, I still have left today, and I'm going to show them on this video. Many of the cards in the video I picked up since 2021 over the past 5 years or so. So without any further ado, I'm going to start presenting, as of today, my Baseball Hall of Fame rookie card collection. Okay, the first one I'm going to look at here, this is a 1888 Goodwin Champions. These are cataloged as N162s. This was the first 19th century set that was issued in full color. There was a couple of sets also issued in color around the same time, but they tended to be just the primary colors. Some of them were red and white with black in it. Some of them were blue and white. So very simplistic as far as color backgrounds and all. This is the first one that was presented in full color, and many believe this is the most beautiful, most attractive 19th century baseball card set ever produced. And one of the YouTube individuals who got me really interested in this set in particular was Orlando from A Collector's Dream, as I believe he's got the #1 set on the PSA registry in terms of 1888 Goodwin Champions. And I always admired his set and I'm not really looking to probably add any additional cards from this set. The only one I was really looking out for was the Cap Anson, which I have pictured here. And the Anson is from, like the rest of the set, 1888, like I said. He's got one earlier card, which was from 1887, which is more traditionally considered his rookie card. That was in the 1887 Buckner Gold coin set. If you're familiar with that set, or possibly not, they're sort of generic player images that were reused for various players. There's about a half a dozen or so different poses and a half a dozen or so different facial recognition images. Otherwise, a lot of players share the same pose and same faces. So not a particular favorite of mine because of that. I rather have the true image of the player, such as the Goodwin Champions Anson pictured here. So I opted to bypass the 1887 Buckner and look out for the either his old Judge card. There's a couple of other cards out there of Anson. There's a couple of team issues picturing Anson as part of the Chicago club. And then there's this one, and I opted to go after this one. I think this is the most attractive card. Also, like Orlando does, I believe this is the most attractive 19th century baseball card. I know he's partial to his King Kelly, I believe, also from the Goodwin Champion set. I like the Anson. So that's the first one. This one I picked up. I picked it up on eBay. I picked it up from a individual who I was familiar with from Net54. As I go through all these cards, I'm going to be mentioning Net54 quite a bit. That's a very prominent vintage baseball card forum, online forum, which started back around 2004, maybe. I joined it around 2006. It was only about 2 years old at that point. And since then, the Net54 baseball website has been upgraded and changed over a couple of different times. Migration, I guess, is what it's called, migrated. And very recently, they tried to do a most recent 2026 migration, and unfortunately, there was some technical issues, I guess, and it didn't work out. So it's been put back to the way it's been for the past probably decade or so now. So anyway, I picked this up on eBay, but I recognized the eBay ID being a Net54 member. Who's also a prominent dealer. He does a lot of card shows in the Northeast. He's based up in New England. Don Hans. Some of you might be familiar with him or bought cards from Don. Always has a fantastic pre-war inventory. And back in my previous collecting days in the 2004-2014 time frame, I had picked up an Ed Delahanty, old Judge rookie from him, among several other cards. So we have a long time hobby relationship. So anyway, this one picked up from Don probably about a year ago now, something like that. And really happy to have that one in the collection. Okay, we're going to pull up the next one now. Sorry, I'm not the quickest when it comes to pulling up these images, so just bear with me for a minute. Okay, next one we have is the 1899 to 1900 Cy Young. This is the M101-1. These are the Sporting News supplements. You can probably tell from the holder, maybe it's hard to tell because there's no scale to compare it to. But these are very much oversized. These are about 8.5 by 11 supplements, premiums. And these were distributed by the Sporting News newspaper, which went all the way back to the late 19th century they were publishing. And these came out I believe it was one per week. It might have been one for every other week over the second half of 1899 and then the early part of 1900 until they got all, I believe there was 50 total in the issue, something close to that. So Cy Young, 1899 here. He does have a couple of Major League Baseball collectibles earlier than this one. However, I'll briefly run down what they are. He has an 1897 to 1898 Cameo Pepsin, which was a pinback. That was a major pinback set, the first true baseball pinback set in history, really, and the most popular, widely collected baseball pinback set probably ever issued. They were extremely rare. I believe there's population reports show 3 Cy Youngs that exist. Those are the only ones I know of as well. I used to own 2 of them actually at different times. Other than the Cameo Pepsin, he appears in the 1893 Just So Tobacco, which was a regional set put out in the Cleveland area. Cy Young during that time frame played for the Cleveland Spiders and was part of that set along with Jesse Burkett, who is another Hall of Famer with the Cleveland team. As far as I know, there's only 1 Cy Young known to exist from that Just So set. So again, similar to the Cameo Pepsin, trying to find either one of those is pretty much an impossibility. He also had 1 or 2 other photography studio cabinet cards, also from the early 1890s, 1891 or so. One of them was put out by Ryder, R-Y-D-E-R Studios, also in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And that's a one-of-a-kind as far as I know as well. So to get something earlier than this 1899 for Cy Young, even though this might not be a true rookie, just about an impossible task. So I opted to go with this one. This one I just picked up in an REA auction very recently. It just came in the mail a couple of weeks ago. As you can see, it's got a couple of chips, one in the left border and one in the upper left corner. Otherwise, the presentation and the image itself is superior. Beckett graded it a 1.5. And as of right now, Beckett is the only company that has a holder large enough to encapsulate these Sporting News M101-1s without requiring them to be trimmed down. There's a few in PSA holders, but I believe every one of them has been trimmed. The holder's not big enough to hold a full-size M101-1. Okay, give me a minute now to retrieve the next card. Okay, sorry about the delay. So next up we have this is a 1905 W601 is the catalog designation. These are Sporting Life team composites. They were issued from 1902 till I believe 1910 or 1911 was the last year that they put these out. The earliest ones being from 02, this is 05, so this is one of the earlier W601 team composites. These are even larger than the M101-1 Sporting News supplements that we just looked at for Cy Young. These are about 11 by 13 and a half or something like that. So these will not fit in any grading company holder. They're too big for any of them. The one I have pictured here, and what makes this one special, is the player in the bottom right corner here. Not sure if you can make him out. It's a pretty good image, so hopefully you can. This is Ty Cobb in 1905, which was his very first MLB season. He only played a minimal number of games that year. And Cobb in 1905, this is obviously his earliest Major League Baseball collectible of any kind. Not a true rookie card, as it's a team item, not only picturing Cobb, but all the 1905 Tigers. And it's also a very much an oversized item, so would not qualify as a card regardless. Sam Crawford and Huey Jennings are also pictured on this same W601 Tigers from 1905 as well. And this one was picked up on Net 54 from a fellow board member who I've known for many years. I was actually the second person in line when this one was put up for sale. Somebody else noticed it before I did. And fortunately for me, the other person either changed their mind or never followed through with payment or whatever. But I shortly got a message from the seller after I reached out to him saying, please let me know if things don't work out with your initial buyer. And sure enough, I got a message saying, it's yours if you want it. So I jumped and sent him PayPal funds, and this is my item now. And again, the earliest Ty Cobb that exists from 1905. Okay. Next up, we've got, looks kind of similar, but this is actually the 1906 Detroit Tigers. And again, the highlight of this is going to be a Ty Cobb. He's pictured in the bottom row, the second from the right this time. And this one is, confusingly, it's also cataloged as a W601. This one, however, is a postcard. It's a postcard size and has postcard markings on the back. And this was only issued one season. Some people call it a 1906 to 07. But this was only put out for 1 year. And there's all the American League and all the National League teams from that one 1906 season they produced. And of course, Detroit in the American League was one of them. And this one also includes Sam Crawford and Huey Jennings, two other Baseball Hall of Famers, as well as Cobb on there. And this would be Cobb's second earliest Major League Baseball item. And other than the 05 that we just looked at, the team composite, this is another team issue. And his earliest individual appearance would not come till 1907, the following year. So this would be Ty Cobb's second earliest MLB collectible. This one was graded by PSA, and along with the Cy Young, this is the other item I recently picked up in the REA auction, which I just received in the mail a couple of weeks ago. It's authentic. It's got a very tiny chip in the upper left corner, but otherwise presents pretty nicely. It's got a couple of creases, which don't really show up in the scan too much. And the back, I believe, was postally used as well. So it's been mailed. It's got a postmark on it. So really cool, super early Ty Cobb postcard. Okay. Give me a second to pull up the next one. Okay. The next one we've got here is going to be, like I mentioned, this is the 1907 Deach Ty Cobb postcard. So this is the first year, 1907, that he appears on individual baseball cards. One of the popular ones is the Deach pose here with him batting. This one is a very high grade for the issue. It's an SGC4, and just presents super nicely, a solid black background with no snowing or anything like that there. This one I picked up on eBay probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, something like that. At one point, I was trying to pick up these Deach Cobb postcards whenever I saw them on eBay, as long as if I had the funds to do it. And this was during that time period. So fortunate and very happy to have this 1907 Deach Ty Cobb postcard. Okay, the next one we're going to add is going to be very similar to that Deitch Cobb that we just looked at. In fact, the image looks identical. This is a variation, though, and it's a very rare variation. I believe the pop report only shows 4 or 5 of these graded by SGC. And I don't think I'm not sure if PSA designates the difference between the two variations. The regular Cobb postcard, the one I showed you in the SGC4 holder, that one does not have Cobb's name at the bottom in the dirt here between his legs. This one actually, I don't know if you can see it in the image on the screen here, but this one actually has COBB. It's printed in white lettering and it's on a pretty light background. So it's not easy to see, but it's right in between his legs, kind of like where the stirrups are from his socks. Not sure if you can see it or not, but it's 2 different variations. This one with the Cobb printed on it, this was actually issued in 1908. The previous one I showed you without the Cobb is 1907, so they were produced in 2 different years. The 1908 is a much rarer, much scarcer issue. Like I said, very, very low pop reports. This one's in much rougher shape than the SGC4 that I have. It's actually got a couple of light creases, small creases at the top border, and then on the right border a little bit down from the top. It's got actually a minor tear. But like I said, there's about 4 or 5 of these graded with the Cobb name on them, printed on there. So these are extremely rare. And when this one came up and I had a chance to acquire it, I actually acquired this one in a trade. I had another Deitch Cobb without the Cobb writing on it. And very recently, in the past few weeks, I reached out to a Net54 member because he had this exact card on eBay. And I said, I've got a Cobb on eBay. It's a Deitch postcard without the Cobb writing. Mine's an SGC2, and it's got no creases. It's a really beautiful card. Would you be interested in doing a straight up trade for it? And he indicated that would work nicely for him. And I already had a couple of the Deitch Cobbs, so it was a duplicate. So I was happy to move that one along. It was an SGC2 and acquire this SGC1 for the much tougher Cobb variation. So that's how this one came to be in my collection. Okay, next one we're going to look at. This will be the last Ty Cobb rookie that we're going to show. This is the 1907 H.M. Taylor postcard. It's actually the exact same pose if it looks familiar. Same pose as the Deitch, but this one has the complete stadium background where the Deitch was cropped to a much more of a close-up image of just Cobb, and the background was all blacked out except for the infield dirt or the batting area dirt on the field. So this one I have, it's a horizontal pose. I really like this one. These are much tougher to find than the Deitches. And this one is also 07, and it's been graded in SGC 1.5. It's got a little minor left corner wear in the upper left corner there. If you're looking at the card horizontally, the way I have it pictured. The back of this one, I believe, is blank. I don't think it was used. And again, my last Ty Cobb rookie postcard. This one I also acquired. It was on eBay. It was a dealer. Trying to recall his name now. It was a dealer I'm familiar with. He does a lot of the big shows, and he was at Strongsville last year, and I was able to work out a price with him. He brought the Cobb to Strongsville. I brought the cash with me, and we exchanged, and I picked up this J.M. Taylor Cobb from him. Okay, moving along to our next card. I showed this card once before in a recent eBay pickups video. This is the 1909 E92 Nadja Caramel Eddie Collins. This one falls into the rookie era for Collins, which is the 1909 time frame. He's got a number of different cards that were all produced either that year or in part of that year as part of the range of years like 1909 to 1911, 1909 to 1912. This one specifically dates to 1909, so that's one reason why I opted to go for this one rather than his T206 or some of the other options. He has one earlier issue, which is the W600 Sporting Life cabinets. He only has, I believe, 3 examples known from that. The earliest W600 of Collins came out in 1907, and the run started in 02. So he was one of the later distribution cards. He was not out for the first 5 years that they made these. So, like I said, only 3 known. I know one of those 3 has a big chunk missing from the card. One of them is a very nice example owned by an F54 board member. And the third one I've never seen. So, again, one of those things where if you want to look for that one, it's pretty much an impossibility to acquire. So I opted to go with this Nadja Caramel. This one is also an extremely low pop card. There's only 3 been graded by PSA. This is the highest graded out of the 3. There's a PSA 3, a PSA 1, and then mine here, which is a PSA 4. Very nice centering, terrific all-around card. Okay. Next one we're going to look at is a pretty big one. This is my 1909 Ramley. That's the only card I have from the Ramley set, which is a tobacco era issue. This is Walter Johnson, most likely the greatest baseball pitcher of all time, right-handed or left-handed. And this is probably his preferred rookie of any of his 1909 issues. He, again, has a couple of others, including the T206, which was issued from 09 to 1911. This one is definitively dated 1909, and with the beautiful gold ornate borders, definitely the one I was looking for. This is a lower grade example in the lower right corner. It's got some wear, especially on that corner. Otherwise, the central image is pretty good. Toward the bottom of the uniform, at the just above his name, Johnson, it's got a little bit of snowing in the picture. But again, this is another one of those cards where the population is probably in the 20s total. And anything higher than the 1 here, you start getting up into the into 5-figure prices pretty quickly. So for affordability wise, this is the only Johnson I could have possibly afforded if I wanted to own a Ramley. So I picked this one up. This is one of my 2021 early purchases. And again, the market was very hot and very high back then. So you could imagine this was not a cheap card to pick up even in a 1 condition. Okay, next up we're going to have, this is another 1909 era card. This one's actually 09 to 11. This is Frank Home Run Baker. And this is the E90-1 set put out by American Caramel. And the E90-1 is the card catalog designation for it. This one pictures Baker in a batting pose. Most of the 09 to 11 American Caramels are believed to have been issued in 09. Very few of them were put out in 1910 or 1911, which is one of the main reasons why I opted to go with this one for Baker. He's another guy who has a whole bunch of 1909 to 11, 09 to 12 different card issues. So this was my favorite. This one's a super clean, super sharp card. Obviously, the left border is very thin. So the side-to-side centering is well off. And that kept it at the 4 level. Otherwise, probably would have been a couple of grades higher. But real nice example. This one I picked up on eBay at a pretty good price a couple of years ago and decided to add it to the collection. Okay, moving on to our next example. This is going to be one that's probably familiar to a lot of people. This is one of the T206s. This is Trit's speaker. I had a couple of speakers. I had his M101-2 Sporting News supplement, which was dated 1909 on the supplement itself. That one I sold recently. But I still have this one. It's the T206. This one actually came out in 1910, based on the Sweet Caporal factory imprint on the back. We were able to date that one not just to 1909 to 11, but to 1910 specifically. So this is my speaker rookie. It's an SGC4. This one's got, I would say, perfect centering all the way around, 50-50. And just a beautiful card. The back is just as nice as the front. And this one I picked up also on eBay at a pretty good price. This was well back there, probably 2021 or 2022, before the vintage market, really started to move up. So I was really happy with this purchase. Okay. Next up, we've got, this one's not exactly a rookie, but it's the same image as his rookie card. This is Grover Cleveland Alexander, and this is a 1915 Cracker Jack. His rookie card, many people consider, is in the 1914 Cracker Jack set, which is the exact same image on the front the year before. And you can see this is a beautiful, almost perfect looking card with bright white borders, kind of almost too white, but that is the way I bought it. And it's in an old SGC Authentic holder. Centering is perfect. I bought it with the understanding that the top edge was slightly trimmed. You can, if you have it in hand, you can see a little waviness. I think the other 3 edges probably not trimmed. And like I said, the borders are very white. Has it ever been cleaned? I don't know. I bought it in the holder as you see it here. The back is also clean, just as the front is. The 1914 Grover Alexander, a Cracker Jack that looks like this from 14 would be really expensive. This was not cheap. It's a beautiful card, so I definitely paid up for it, but happy to have this one in the collection. I used to have a 14 Grover Alexander Cracker Jack, but 2 of the corners, one corner was clipped off completely. The other corner was rounded to the point where it was almost missing. And that always bothered me whenever I looked at the card. So I decided to finally move it 2 or 3 years ago when the Cracker Jacks were really starting to move up in price. And I got a decent price for it. And took me a couple of years, but this past year I finally found this 1915 and decided to pull the trigger. This was an eBay purchase as well. Okay. Next one we're going to look at this is a pretty big one. This is my 1917 Collins McCarthy Rogers Hornsby. He's got 4 different 1917 rookie cards, all with the same image on the front. And then he has one other 1917, which I'm going to show in a minute, which is a different image. This one shares the same picture as the Boston Store, the standard biscuit, and the wheel baking. The Collins McCarthy is the most common out of the 4 All the other three are all very scarce to extremely scarce to nearly impossible, I guess you could say. Not like this is an easy one. I believe the population numbers on these are right around 10 or so. So, super happy to have owned this one. I never had this card back in my previous rookie collection, and that I did from 2004 to 2014. This one I picked up in a trade from a Net54 member. He had listed it for sale or trade on the Net54 website. This is a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now. And he was looking for either Babe Ruth or Joe Jackson. I didn't really have any Babe Ruths I could trade him. But I had a national game 1913 Joe Jackson that was graded a PSA 9. It's obviously a super high grade. And we agreed to a even up swap the Joe Jackson for this Hornsby and an SGC 1. And I've been super happy to have made that trade ever since then. I think he's happy to have the PSA 9 Joe Jackson. So I think it was a win-win for both of us. My focus being on rookie cards, his focus being Ruth and Jackson. So just the best thing for both of us, I think. Okay. Now I mentioned there's a second image of Hornsby from 1917, also a rookie, which is what I'm going to show you now. This one I picked up last year, September, at the Philly Show 2025 from Bill Chappell, a longtime Net54 member and longtime hobby friend of mine. I used to go to Bill's tables at Nationals back in the pre-2010 days, 2007, 2008, 2009. Even back then, Bill had a fantastic inventory. Not nearly as much as what he has now today, but still a major dealer. Anyway, this is a 1917 to 1920, so it's a range of 3 or 4 years. This is the Hornsby put out by Felix Mendelssohn. Felix Mendelssohn was a photographer who had his own studio, and he's the one who took all the pictures for the Sporting News 1916 M101-5s and M101-4s. And also a lot of the images that were used as well for the 1917 Collins McCarthy and the other versions of that I just mentioned with my Hornsby rookie. So this one's extremely rare. I think the pop numbers on this one is about 4. Not 100% sure. This one's graded a 3. I think that's the second highest graded, maybe. There's 1 or 2 higher, and there's 1 or 2 lower. So just thrilled to pick this up from Bill. I had to pay pretty strongly for it. Like I said, I got it around September last year. But really glad to own this one. And a second different Hornsby rookie card. Just give me a moment here. Okay, next one. Okay, this was a very early 2021, maybe middle of 2021 pickup. This one I really paid through the nose for. This was really the peak of the market during COVID. So this is the 1925 to 1931 Lou Gehrig. This is the second rookie card option for Gehrig. The primary rookie would be the most desirable one was his 25 exhibit card. In the last decade or so, that exhibit card has jumped into the low 6-figure price range and well beyond my reach. So I started looking for this W590, which I had owned one back in my previous collection 15 years ago. And I came across this one. The cut is really super nice. The borders are a little too thin on the sides to get a number grade. I wish it did, but it's graded authentic. But there's about 20, again, population on this one is about 24, I think, something like that. And out of the 24, I believe 16 or so are authentic graded. So there's only 7 or 8 that have numerical grades. So I don't feel so bad that mine is authentic. It's probably one of the nicest, or maybe the nicest authentic out there. And like I said, I really paid strong for this one back during that time frame. This one I think I actually bought from Just Collect, Leighton Sheldon. Many of you may know from his YouTube channel or from setting up at the big card shows as well. Okay, next one we're going to look at is going to be this one's really interesting, Lefty Grove. And this is a 1926 to 29 postcard back exhibit. Some of these people call these a 25 to 31 issue. There's been some discussion as far as years, the earliest years and the last years that these were available. I look at it as a 26 to 29. And the early, if you look at the 26 year, it's the earliest Lefty Grove card out there. And the reason why it looks strange that it might be backwards in the PSA holder, it appears, is because the postcard back side of it, which is blank other than the postcard marking, this example is actually autographed. And it's not autographed by Grove, unfortunately, but it's autographed by Mickey Cochran, who was his catcher and battery mate through all his years with the Philadelphia Athletics. And the really interesting thing is Mickey Cochran is also a rookie card, has a rookie card in the same 26 to 29 postcard back exhibit set. So this is a Grove rookie. It's autographed by Cochran, and it's autographed from the same rookie card year as Cochran's rookie as well. So a really interesting combination there. This is another one I picked up on eBay. This was, I believe, 2022. It wasn't the peak of the market, but it was not too far after that. And really interesting, one of a kind for sure. Okay, next one we have here. I've had a couple of these over the past few years, and this is the highest grade example that I've come across that I've been able to pick up. It's a Jimmy Fox. It's another one of those 1926 to 29 postcard back exhibits. Grove's teammate with the Philadelphia Athletics at this point. And he's in a very appealing fielding pose there as a first baseman, which you rarely see any other Jimmy Fox cards picturing him fielding, other than I believe his Diamond Star card has him in catcher's gear. But it's a close-up. You don't really see any sort of action image. So this one's a PSA 4. Like I said, the highest one I've owned. I've had a couple other ones. And one of my favorite underrated sluggers of all time. Put up similar numbers to Lou Gehrig, and not quite Babe Ruth level, but for the price of his cards, definitely I think a bargain if you're looking for that type of thing amongst the all-time greats in baseball history. This one I picked up from Ash at a card show in, I think it was a Philly card show that I did not even attend. I saw it on a YouTube video. I think it was a Sammy Thunder YouTube video. He covered Ash's table. I saw the card there, and I had a friend who's local down here in Florida where I am, who was set up at the show as a dealer. I reached out to him and said, "Can you go over to Ash, see if he still has his Jimmy Fox?" And long story short, we worked out a deal, and I ended up picking up the Fox from him. So one of my favorite rookie cards in the collection. Okay, next up we've got a player that I actually have two different rookies for. So I'm going to show the first one here. This is Mel Ott, and this one is my favorite of the two. This is the 1929 Cash-In Publications. Most people probably prefer this one. It's Ott individually on his own on the card and a beautiful swinging pose. The really appealing thing about my example, I think, is the centering is pretty much perfect all the way around. A lot of these cash-ins are completely missing one border, almost to the point where the card is really a miscut. This one's just got perfect centering, and it's graded a 3. It's not a super high grade, but I've actually had higher graded ones from here. I had a 4 or a 4.5 that I gave up and opted to keep this one because the 4 actually had no border on top. It was just about down to the photo. So I prefer this one for as far as eye appeal. So this one I picked up, I believe it was in a clean sweep auction maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I used to do a lot of business with Clean Sweep when I was living in New Jersey. They were in New York. And Steve Erkman, I've known for many years. I believe he's the owner. I believe he was the founder of Clean Sweep when they first started, and a good hobby friend as well. Okay. So as I mentioned, there's two different Ott rookies that I have. So I'm going to show you the second one here. This is the 1929 to 30 4-on-1 exhibits. This was the first year that the exhibit supply company did not put out individual players. They put out 4 players on one card. And they usually did it almost every case with all teammates. So all 4 players on the card pictured would be from the same team. This one was the New York Giants team and included not only Ott as a rookie, but also Bill Terry in the bottom left corner. So 2 Hall of Famers on this one, along with 2 of the other Giants players from that season. This one I picked up on eBay a couple of years ago at a very good price. Actually, not eBay. It was on Net54. Somebody had it on there. And it was another case where I think there was a buyer before me and they ended up passing on it or whatever happened. It got offered to me as a second runner-up, and I ended up paying and getting the card myself. So another Mel Ott, 2 different rookie card options I have in the collection there. Okay, next up we've got, this is a pretty big one. This is Hank Greenberg, and his most popular rookie is the 1934 Goudey. Very popular set right after the 33 Goudey. And this one is really great centering. The top border is a little big. Otherwise, it's very nice. Sharp card, beautiful color, and no surface issues, no creases or anything like that. So graded an SGC 5, and that's a pretty high grade for my collection. I don't have too many pre-war Hall of Fame rookies in a grade of 5 or more. So super happy to have this one. This was one of my 2021, my early pickups that I held on to for the past 5 years or so. And this one came from eBay. Everything I bought in 2021 pretty much came off of eBay. Okay, next up we have This is the only Joe DiMaggio rookie that I currently still own. This is the 1936 Gaudi. These are cataloged as R314 in the American Card Catalog. And this one pictures him with his manager, Joe McCarthy, also in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And very nice image, very nice card. This one's graded in SGC 3. The back of these is blank. They're about postcard size. Previously, I had the other R314 DiMaggio, which is the portrait. That one's a 1937 issue, so it's actually a second year. And I also had the National Chickle, the one where he's batting during spring training with the uniform number 18 on the back. This one I bought on eBay, I believe around 2021 as well. Okay, next one is another big one here. This is the 1939 play ball, Ted Williams. I apologize, the scan is a little awkwardly placed here. But this one's a really nice card. The centering is pretty close to perfect. I've had a couple of other Ted Williams rookies. They're usually off center, especially left to right, one side or the other. This is the best centered one that I've ever had, at least for this, my 2021 forward collection. Williams also has a Gaudi oversized premium from 1939 as well, which includes a US version and a Canadian version. I do not have that one. And this was another pickup from 2021, 2022, early on, off of eBay. Okay, next one here is going to be one of my rarest cards. This is the 1946 to 47 Propaganda Montiel. It's a Cuban Winter League card, and this one pictures Stan Musial in a batting pose. And you can see there's a little bug hole on the right side of the card. That's actually in Cuba. It was not uncommon for baseball cards to have survived with bug holes in them. Some of them will have multiple holes. If you look at the very bottom border at the lower right, you'll see a tiny bug hole down there as well. So this one actually has 2 bug holes on it. But otherwise, it's a pretty nice, clean card. It's got the 4 borders all the way around. Really good centering for one of these. A lot of these Propaganda Montiel cards are missing either 1 or 2 borders completely. This one's a bright yellow. Some of them are more of an orangey color. Not really any rhyme or reason to that. I think just the way the printing came out in Cuba back in the 40s was not always perfect. These are super rare. Populations on this one, I think, is in the 20 range. PSA and SGC combined. And really happy to own this one. This one came from eBay also probably 2021 or so, 2021, 2022. Okay, next up we've got a very popular one these days. It's the 1947 Bond Bread, Jackie Robinson. This one is the original first Bond Bread set, not the 13 card set that was all Jackie cards. This is the one that had all the National American League players found in the loaves of bread. And this one predates, of course, his Leaf and Bowman rookies from 49 by 2 years. To me, this is the real, true Jackie Robinson rookie. along with the portrait card from his Bond Bred 13 card Jackie only set. This one's in an authentic holder. My understanding was it was a minimum size requirement reasoning and not a evidence of trimming. So I think the card measures very slightly short. Many of these that were cut from the factory were that way. Many of these you'll find in authentic holders, and it does not necessarily mean that they were trimmed. I believe this one was not trimmed. This one is super clean. There's no creases. The back is blank and no issues with the back either. This was another one of my 2021, 2022 pickups. Sorry for the little delay here. Little technical difficulties. I think we got it now. Okay. So next up, we've got another Jackie rookie. This one is a super bright and clean example. I think it's the favorite Jackie card in my collection just because of the eye appeal and how nicely it presents. This is the 1949 Bowman. This one I actually bought on eBay. It came in a Beckett 5.5 holder, I think it was. And I knew when I bought it, my intention was going to be to cross it over to either PSA or SGC. I decided that the best chance of getting the higher grade between those two companies was probably SGC. So I sent it in to them, and I got a 4.5 out of a 5.5 Beckett, which I was pretty happy with. I knew when I bought it, if it graded either a 3, somewhere in the 3 to 4 range, with either PSA or SGC, I was going to be ahead of the game as far as what I paid. And this one graded a 4.5, so I was really happy with that. And I actually think it presents quite a bit better than the 4.5 even. The back is totally clean as well. And again, this was an eBay purchase in a Beckett holder originally. Okay, we're going to look at one more Jackie rookie. And this is the 1949 Leaf. Obviously, this one's a PSA 2. Really clean example. No surface issues or anything. It's the centering is not that fantastic on this one. The left to right and top to bottom are both somewhat off, but really nice clean card, nice image, good registration, good color. Not the boldest color one I've ever seen, but nice presenting too. And of course, the most popular Jackie rookie of all, the 1949 Leaf. This one I bought. I did have an example from 2021, which I sold last year. That was a 1.5. That one had some print marks on it. This one I picked up a year or two later. So this was probably a 2023 eBay purchase. Okay, this video's gotten pretty long. I'm going to kind of move through these next few. These are post-war rookies pretty quickly. You all know what they are. This is 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Really nice card. The left to right centering is well off, as you can see. The top to bottom is a little bit off. PSA 4. Really happy to have gotten this one. This was another 2021 purchase way back in the beginning of COVID. Okay, next up we've got the accompanying card to the 51 Bowman Mantle. It's the 51 Bowman Maze. This one's got really nice centering. The top to bottom is the top border is a little bit thick, but otherwise really clean. Great image. It's got a little bit of a printing bubble or something above the Willie and his name in the black box toward the bottom. But otherwise, super nice, clean card. This one got a PSA 2.5, and this was another one I bought in 2021 on eBay. Okay, next up is another big golden era rookie card, Hank Aaron. This one is, let's see. This one is a PSA 4. It's got beautiful centering, great color, great registration, terrific card. And this one also came from 2021 eBay. Okay, the next to last one we're going to show is this 1954 alternative Aaron rookie. This is the Spick and Span, which was a company in the Milwaukee area. And they printed these postcard size 1954 to 56 Braves players. And they were put out, like I said, over that 3-year time frame. This is a PSA 4.5. And it's another Aaron rookie card option in addition to his tops. This one, obviously, a much tougher rookie card to find. This one I picked up on eBay maybe 2 or 3 years ago, probably 2023 or so. Okay, and the last card I'm going to present in my Hall of Fame rookie collection. This is a 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente. This one's a very high grade PSA 6.5. Again, I don't have too many cards graded above the 5 or so level or higher. This one's got beautiful centering. The bottom border is slightly bigger than the top border, but beautiful color, beautiful image, and one of my favorite cards in my collection for sure. And this one came from 2021, I believe, late in the year as well. Another eBay purchase. So that's going to wrap up today's video on my current Baseball Hall of Fame rookies collection that I've assembled between 2021 and now for the past 5 years or so. Still looking for a few others. I've kind of got most of the guys that I'm looking for. Going to focus a lot of my resources now going forward on other areas of my collection. And I'm going to present those other segments in future videos coming up soon. So keep an eye out for that. You're going to see some autograph cards and some rare low pop cards, some other sports such as football, basketball, hockey, and various other things as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again next time.